Hey,
There's been so much interest in the economic boom that's been happening in Jamaica, both on the investment side and also as a place to move to. Let me tell you about a conference that might help you with this stuff. ThropX is a 5-day Jamaica investment conference that takes place from November 13th to November 17th at the beautiful Travelers Beach Resort in Negril, Jamaica. This includes 2 full days of expert panel presentations on all aspects of moving to and investing in Jamaica. This includes the brightest minds in the Jamaican real estate market, certified financial advisors from the most prestigious financial groups in Jamaica, banking professionals from the most esteemed banking institutions in Jamaica, among others. If you are thinking about moving to Jamaica, this conference is the perfect opportunity to have direct access to not only individuals who have achieved your dream of moving to Jamaica, but you'll also be among like-minded conference goers who are also trying to move to Jamaica. In addition, there will be 1 full day dedicated to touring both residential and commercial real estate for sale in the greater Negril area to give you a tangible idea of the real estate landscape in Jamaica. There will be exclusive properties for sale on this tour that you will not find listed anywhere else. If you are even remotely considering moving to or investing in Jamaica, this is the conference for you. This is the best way to dip your toe in the water of figuring out whether Jamaica is the right place for you to invest and to live. For more information, please visit thropx.com and join our mailing list. I look forward to seeing you in November. Hello, everyone, and happy Sunday. We are here again, another live stream from the beautiful Negril, Jamaica. And we have a couple of updates going on today, and also, actually mostly updates, but we also have a great guest coming on from Portmore. As you can probably tell from the title and thumbnail of this live stream, we're going to be talking about building Jamaica in many ways, which has been, I would say, a main theme of ours for the last few weeks, maybe even last couple months, as a matter of fact, in regards to having the different types of guests that we've been having on it, all the way from having a quantity surveyor, architect. Last week we had our first contractor, which I was saying I was very careful about bringing on. And now we have somebody from the municipal corporation. I should say a director of building from Portmore, as a matter of fact. So I think we're going to get some insight into, I would say, like the more broader spectrum. Of course, we can ask very specific questions here today for whatever situation that you might find yourself in. But I thought bringing on this person we were trying to get for quite some time to just get a broad spectrum of just building Jamaica in general. And then also, I think there's a lot to learn from what they're doing over there in Portmore, becoming their own municipality, which is something that we would like to do here in Negril as well. So exciting day. So we'll be having that person come on at the top of the hour. And if you have any questions, of course, please put it in the comments as we go through our discussion and as we lead up to the Q&A section of the interview. Also going to give a few updates on things going on with ThropX, the meeting that I was in, the security meeting that I was on Thursday, which I had to skedaddle out of here after the live stream a little bit early. But like I said on the post afterwards, that I would be more than happy to share what was discussed in that meeting and bring it to the Sunday live stream today. So as usual, please let me know where you're chiming in from, what city, what state, what country. Always love to hear it. Always appreciate you all hanging out with me on these streams, especially on your Sunday afternoons, mornings, or evenings. I really do appreciate it. So let's hop into the comments and then we can get into the updates, because our guest that we have on today, he has a hard 1 hour out. So we're probably going to go maybe 40 minutes of me asking them questions and then opening up the last 15-20 minutes to any questions that you may have. So yeah, let's get into it a little bit here. What's going on, Phil? Thanks for joining. Hi, Donna. Happy Sunday to you. Happy Sunday, Throp and Throppers from Ottawa. Rachel, great to see you. Say hello to mom for me, please. Hi, Yvonne. Happy Sunday to you as well. What's going on? Jeff says, Happy Sunday. Getting in greetings from a rainy, cool day in Montreal. I think we could always all do with a cool day, especially those who have been battling this summer heat wave all over the world. What's going on, Justin? Happy football day. It is a happy day. The Jets are playing Buffalo tomorrow, Monday night. I was supposed to be at that game, but I'm here with you all here in Jamaica, but that's cool. That's cool. So I mean, good luck to your Cowboys as well, Justin. I know you're a big fan. Jeff Rogerson, happy Sunday, everyone. Just greetings from a rainy cold. I already read that. Excuse me. Julianne Clark, happy Sunday from Brighton, UK. First time on a live. Been catching up with YouTube live posts. Okay, awesome. Welcome to a live stream, a live stream. Eddie, happy Sunday from Texas. Gary Talawa Wood says, hello, Throp. Greetings from Manhattan, New York City. Nice to have you on. MDL, happy Sunday to Throp and Throppers chiming in from the Washington, D.C. area. Thank you very much for hopping on. MDL, always appreciate it. Jan, good morning, Throp and Throppers. Stanley Franklin, happy Sunday, Throp and Throppers chiming in from New York. Cherie, happy Sunday, everyone from Toronto. Chris PW at Throp, no beach. That's right. We are in the studio. No beach today, as you can see. Justin says, you play the Giants tonight, Dallas next week. Oh boy. I don't know. I guess I'll be watching that. Definitely. We'll be watching that together. Maybe we should live stream that. Maybe not. I mean, one of us will probably cry after that, Justin. We'll just leave that alone. Stanley Franklin says, I don't mind being called a thropper. Good to know. Stanley Franklin. And for those that know what he's referring to, you know. Austin Smith, Diary of a Vegan. Happy Sunday from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Nice to have you. Democracy, blessings from a rainy New York City. So I hear. It is rainy over there. Leon, what's going on, man? Blessing from the second city, Jamaica. Awesome. And Sure says, good afternoon from a rainy Fort Lauderdale. This is probably that Hurricane Lee, I believe it is just wreaking havoc. Looks like it's pretty serious. Hopefully it doesn't make landfall and it stays out there in the Atlantic. This is too hot to drink. Anyway, let's get into the show here. Thank you all for the comments, and let me know where you're chiming in from. Appreciate it. Leon says, happy Sunday, Throppers. How about Coco last evening? Yeah, I just reading an article. Amazing. Congratulations to her. Awesome. We're talking about the U.S. Open for those that might not be familiar. What a story. So proud of her and what she's doing, and pretty awesome. Frank chiming in from Canarsie, Brooklyn. What is going on? Representing BK. Gary says, would like him to explain Portmore. Okay, gotcha. Gary, I'll ask this later, but he's asking, want him to explain why Portmore needs to be a parish. Portmore already in a parish, and there is no rule. The largest city in the parish has to be so. If so, then Ochiria should be a parish too. Fair enough. I got that one started and saved away to ask the gentleman when he gets on, Gary. Thank you for that. Happy Sunday, Suzette. Nice to see you. Okay, so let's get quickly into the update. As I alluded to earlier on the live stream on Thursday, I had to leave for a meeting, which was a security meeting. And I'll just bring up my Twitter here real quick. And it was held at Couple Swept Away. Let's see if this is the right one. I think it is. There we go. Yeah, it was held at Couple Swept Away. So this is a post from the Ministry of National Security, and it reads, Deputy Prime Minister of National Security, the Honorable Dr. Horace Chang, and Commissioner of Police Major General Anthony Anderson meet with representatives of Negril, the Negril Chamber of Commerce at Swept Away Hotel in Negril, Westmoreland. And we also had the So that's Richard Wallace on the right, and that who is the former past president of the Negro Chamber of Commerce, and then to his right, left of the screen, that is Moreland Wilson. He is the MP for Western Westmoreland. And then the officer to the very left, just kind of cut off a little bit. He is he's the head of the Negril police station. I sorry, I get confused with the ranking, so I don't want to say what that is. I would say what his ranking is, because I always mess it up. And then we see here, we have the commissioner of police to the right, and in the middle we have Daniel Grizzle, who's the owner of Shirella Inn and also a founding member of the Negril Chamber of Commerce. And then Dr. Chang up there. And then that's me right there. So I was sitting next to Damian Salmon, who's standing up. He is the second vice president of the Negro Chamber of Commerce, and also the owner of Rock House. I was gonna say Miss Lily's, but yes, Miss Lily's in New York City, and also Skylark, which also has a Miss Lily's here in Negril. And to his right is Luddy. He is the owner of the Drifters Bar here in Negril, Luddy Sam's, and he is a former drifter from back in the day, as a matter of fact. So it's kind of cool that we have him and his business as part of our community. And then to my left is Sean. So Sean does a this party called Different Strokes here in Negril. It's one of the most, I would say, most looked after events throughout the year in Jamaica. And it's like literally all they play is like, I think up to the 90s, if I'm not mistaken, the type of music. And so it's like one of those parties like everybody looks forward to. It says like an oldies, old hits party. And he was there. I'm not sure his position, but I know he is part of the leadership of the Negril Entertainment Association. And then to his left is Yellow. So he owns Yellow Computer Repair Shop downtown Negril. And that's a place that you go to if there's something wrong with your laptop, your phone. We always pop down there if we need like, Cat 5 cable, Type C cable, that sort of thing. They're very, very skilled. They have very skilled technicians down there. And then we also had the MP from Hanover as well. And then, as you can see in the larger picture here, it's just like community leaders, business owners, and in the grill, that is. And so it was great. I haven't seen like or been in a meeting like this in a very long time. And I was saying this in the post that I made on the YouTube community post, and it's just really good. We'll get into the details of this shortly, of the meeting itself, but it's just really, really good to see the attention that I would say the West in general has been getting recently, but also specifically Negril and Westmoreland. And I've just never seen it like this before, and I'm on such a consistent basis. It's usually like something happens, and then the powers that be react and try to show solitude or whatever have you for the moment, and then that's kind of done and gone. But now we're seeing this constant flow of the leaders coming into this parish and into the West here, and telling us about the plans that are coming, and also bringing us in for consultation as well. And so again, I've never seen this or felt this before, and it's like pretty awesome that this is happening. So, as a community, we really appreciate the minister coming down, the commissioner of police coming down as well, and hearing from us the challenges that we're facing. And I would also have to say, they are very well informed on the challenges that we are facing here in Negril. And I guess we can we can get into that now. So there's an article that came out and says Chang calls for hustlers in the grill to be regularized, treated fairly. I'll read through it quickly. Deputy Prime Minister and National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang has reminded tourism stakeholders in the grill that if persons hustling in the town's resort areas are treated with respect and regularized, it could result in public order. Chang made the pronouncements while speaking with members of the Negro Chamber of Commerce on Thursday. Concern Concerns have been raised about tourist harassment in the grill, and stakeholders there have been working along with the police to ramp up covert operations to deal with the issue. Chang said a similar approach was taken in other resort areas to regularize the persons who are classified as hustlers. The results of those interventions have been largely positive, he stated. The national security minister said treating people with respect can also help the situation. The issue of public order is one that I found that the critical issue here is not so much the execution, but to ensure that there is equal treatment for all involved and you treat them with respect and we get good outcomes, Chang indicated. The very people you have on the roadsides try to beat them up, beat them off the road, they beat you. Get into this sort of reasoning to show them the alternative that moving them is better for all, and then you get good responses. He proposed. Chang pointed to similar challenges with hustlers in Falmouth. The biggest complaint we had in Falmouth was about harassing tourists from the cruise ship. But then we engaged the hustlers themselves and had them retrained, uniformed, and some became tour guides. They have turned out to be the best ambassadors for Jamaica, Chang informed. According to Chang, if things are done fairly and professionally, relative to persons engaging in hustling in the resort areas, we can get good response from Jamaicans. He added that I don't think they're intrinsically indisciplined. There are, of course, people who are criminals, but the average Jamaicans who are out there on the road seeking to make a living, if he's given a level of respect and fairness, we can get good order and everyone will be better off, Chang declared. So that was one of the uh one of the issues that came up in the meeting. We also talked about, what did we talk about? So the hustler situation on the beach in the grill. Talked about horses on the beach. We talked about the roads, and one thing I think a big thing that we that came into play that also is directly related to national security, hospitality, and in what do I say, traffic, traffic enforcement is the highway from Montego Bay to Negril, and there were a lot of great points brought up in the meeting in regards to this, and it was emphasized that we, as a body, Negro Chamber of Commerce, and as a community, we stop referring to the highway as a bypass. It's a highway. And I think we've talked about this before in this live stream. So it is a highway, not a bypass. And that's one of the main things that they wanted to get across, which was great to hear that our leaders are actually thinking about it as a highway more than anything else. Not thinking about it, but labeling it as a highway. And I think that does a lot in terms of showing the priority and importance of this highway. So allow me to use this as an opportunity to bring up the map. One of my favorite things to do. And so we're probably gonna hop back into this after our guest comes on today, because I don't think we're gonna have enough time to really delve into some of these issues that were discussed in this meeting. And I think it's important because it speaks a lot to the direction that this side of the island is going, and also the priority that is being put on this side of the island, especially from an infrastructure perspective. And the way the discussions went, it also made me realize and understand that that not real that they understand what is happening and what is going on, and what could possibly be the results of just not having proper planning in place. So anyway, So we obviously, not obviously, but let's hop over to Montego Bay here. And so we are aware that there is a highway, not a bypass, but a highway being built from Montego Bay in the I don't know exactly where it is. I've seen a few YouTube videos on it, but I I don't want to speculate. But there is a highway being built that is going to go around. I'm not going to say bypass, but go around and allow you to avoid basically Montego Bay and downtown Montego Bay. One of the main, and this is well understood and appreciated just from the meeting. One of the main bottlenecks that we understand and we've talked about many times here is in Lucy and the downtown area of Lucy. And if you've been there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And one of the main things about Lucy is the truck deliveries that are happening there. So let's see if I can bring you into exactly what I'm talking about. Do-do-do-do. Okay, here we go. All right, I always get confused here. Coming in, coming in. All right, this is it. Okay, got it. Okay, so this is like the main part that we right here. We know everybody knows the seawall here. When it rains, it flooded. Sometimes the river gets flooded. Sometimes this road gets flooded. But also, one of the main bottlenecks of the situation cause is when truck. And it sounds so simple, but like look how narrow it is. You know, you have basically one-way traffic on each side, one lane traffic on each side, I should say, and these are all businesses. So if you can imagine when a truck, for example, is driving up to D&G Hardware to deliver their inventory, then you can only if the truck parks here, then the traffic on this side has to stop to allow the other side to go and vice versa. And that can cause a backup all the way back to the bridge and sometimes all the way back to the corner where the hospital is, like where Lucy Hospital is. And I've seen that before. So anyway, one of the solutions that they came up with is to have specific times for deliveries during the day. And then also, I don't know the road that they were referring to, but these are temporary fixes to alleviate the traffic like immediately because it's getting really bad. So the other one was to fix up a back road. I don't know where it is, but there's a back road that you can go up and you end up basically where Rusty's high school is coming out of there. And we may be thinking and asking ourselves, okay, like why the temporary solution if the highway is coming? But we also got to keep in mind that there was a rather large hotel being opened up called the Princess Hotel. And by large hotel, I mean the largest hotel in all of Jamaica. And so, as we've stated and discussed before, that is going to bring a significant increase of traffic to and from Montego Bay. And that hotel, from what I understand, is slated to be opened in 2024. The highway will not be completed by then. The bypass, uh, the highway extension will not go past Lucy at that point. Another great point that was brought up was also, so we understand right now like the two bottlenecks is and Lucy, and then also the other one is Hopewell. Another great point that was brought up in the meeting was really seeing that there are going to be other bottlenecks that are going to eventually be created, one at Sandy Bay and one at Green Island. I thought that was fantastic because that is so true. Those are going to become bottlenecks because we'll fix the two bottlenecks at Hopewell and the one at Lucy, but it's going to, I won't say it'll create a bottleneck at these areas, but if you kind of know the makeup of Sandy Bay and also Green Island, like when you go over the bridge and having to turn that corner and slow down, and that road is pretty bad as well. This is like, come on, we can already see it coming. So they acknowledge that and they understand and making a priority on these things. And so the request was essentially made that there be a the highway just be extended just literally directly from Montego Bay all the way to Negril. And I believe at some point that that has to happen, like with all development that's going on here, and it's just going to further interconnect the island in a great way. And it's just going to be, I think, just so obviously very great for Negril, but just so great for the country as well. And imagine being able to get to Montego Bay in half an hour from Negril or vice versa. Like that is crazy. That is like you can you can live in either place and then work in the other. That's what that is. You know, a 30-minute commute on a highway, that would be great. So that was one thing that was in high consideration. We talked about the harassment via the article that I just read. And I think the minister is right in saying that he he wants to do it in a way that is more inclusive as opposed to isolating the hustlers on the beach or on the road and make them part of the formal economy. Because and I also think, this is just a generalization, you know, like most of the people who are like kind of born and raised in tourism, if you will, and kind of been on the beach and are from Negril, like they understand how to do it and they are legitimate, legitimate people on the beach who are selling their wares, their legal wares, and really trying to make a living for their family. And so many of them have started relationships with guests like year after year after year. I see it here. I know speaking to other hoteliers, they see it as well. And excuse me, and it's just like awesome that those relationships get started off of just somebody selling fruit or selling a bracelet or a Jamaica hat or whatever have you. And tourists love supporting the local economy in that way. And I also think that like that's such a big part of the the Jamaica experience, especially like when you think about, this is going to kind of sound weird to say, but if you're like staying at an all inclusive and you just never leave your hotel and your only interaction with like Jamaica is the staff and team that's at the hotel, which is great and they do a great job for sure. But then you also have the guys on the beach who are like selling their stuff. And like, so I think my point is like, I'd venture to say that a lot of the guests really appreciate those authentic interactions, and it's nothing against the team and staff at these all inclusive resorts at all. But those people are being paid to do a job, whereas somebody walking on the beach selling you something or talking to you, they're not being paid to be nice to you. They're not being paid to say hello or whatever have you. And whether you decide to buy something off of them or not, it's still like a very raw and authentic interaction. And then sometimes it just goes from talking about their families and what they're doing. And again, I know every year people look forward to going back to or speaking to whatever or whoever that person is on the beach. And so again, I really do think that in a big way that is part of the culture in the grill. On the other side of that coin, there are of course people who take advantage of that and do it in a way that is can be not so pleasant. And I think that's what the minister is referring to, is and also trying to do again is to kind of bring those individuals and not saying like, hey, you can't make money, or hey, you can't sell whatever it is that you're selling, but there might be a better way to do it. There might be a better way that with the right training and the right context, you can make even more money than you're making right now. And it's just a matter of getting those individuals to buy into that, where everybody wins. Everybody wins. They win the experience of the tourists, win us as who have hotels and formalized brick and mortar businesses along the beach. We win as well, because that also speaks to the just speaks to the overall experience of our businesses. And the more people that have a pleasant experience and interactions with just Jamaicans in general, the better it is for everybody all around. All right, so we are just about at the top of the hour, and I see our guest is just about ready. So I'm going to do a quick introduction. So for those who might not be aware, today we are having on somebody from Portmore, as you can see by the thumbnail and title. We have Oning Ray Parker, Director of Planning, Development, and Environment, and he's an employee of the Portmore Municipal Council, where he has been employed for 16 years of the council, 20 years of existence. Owen Gray currently serves the municipality in the capacity of Director of Planning, Development, and Environment. With a Bachelor of Science degree in Urban Planning, Owen Gray is very passionate about the built and natural environment, thus believing that as stewards of the earth, we should endeavor to create and maintain a balance between both. And with that, I would like to welcome Mr. Parker to the live stream. How are you today?
Hey, I'm doing well, and I'm happy to be on the stream today, sharing with your your viewers, sorry, about the lovely Portmore and the development approval process.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And just as a reminder to everybody in the community, I know we have one question that I saved already. If you have any questions for Mr. Parker, please put them in the comments and I will save them. And Mr. Parker has a hard out in an hour. I understand you have another engagement that you have to go to. So we're going to save the last 15 to 20 minutes for Q&A from the audience. And
Sure.
thank you. So I guess to start out with, I know I gave a brief introduction on you. Could you tell me exactly what your responsibilities are in your current capacity?
Well, in a nutshell, as the director of planning, my responsibilities entails that I am responsible for the sustainable, organized development of the municipality of Portmore. Um, that also involves us monitoring what we call development control, how developments are done. We ensure that it is done in an organized and systematic way. There are a number of other activities that, as the director of planning, that I am responsible for. I'll just share some others.
Mhm.
I have to communicate with our parent ministry, which is the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, because as the parent ministry, we take directives from them. So we have to keep in constant dialogue so as to ensure that whatever policies and programs that are initiated by the ministry, that we implement them effectively and efficiently at the local level. As the director of planning, I have to ensure that we have a land database because we have to ensure that the zoning and the land uses within the municipal space is in accordance to how we want it to be shaped and so as to ensure ultimately the safety and the sustainability of the people of Portmore. So that's in a nutshell, basically, what the director of planning does.
Okay, great. And just to build some context in respect to the audience that we have here, and the majority of the people that's part of this community are in a very real way interested in investing in Jamaica, and I would say more so moving and living here either permanently or for extended periods of time. And and it's important to for them and for us to really understand like multiple facets of especially investing in real estate, but then also understanding any sort of regulatory constraints that go along with building, buying land. And I'm openly biased because I'm here in Negril, and so I wouldn't say I push people, but I present a lot of information and opportunity as it relates to investing in the West. But I also look at Portmore as an example in many ways of what Negril could become, right? And and correct me if I'm wrong, like when I think of Portmore is and could be the 15th parish of Jamaica. And I remember I've been living in Jamaica 18 years now, and I've been hearing this story about Portmore, like kind of moving to this direction and just having their own autonomy in many ways. And so if you could you explain to us maybe briefly like the steps that you took towards moving in that direction, and also why you as a community decided to go in that direction?
Currently, the government of Jamaica is thinking about making Portmore the 15th parish. Um, there are some decisions that are taken at the government level that, as a local municipal corporation, we don't have direct control of. And this is one such. So, central government, under the ministry, under the government at present, they're seriously contemplating making Portmore the 15th parish. Um, but just to put some things into context, when we talk about Portmore, Portmore is one of, or if not the fastest growing residential community in the Western Hemisphere. And as a result of that, with such a dense and large population, the voices of the people are strong. And when you look at the history and the inception of how Portmore became a municipality, it was the voice of the people that spoke. Because with such an emerging, fast growing community, the residents of Portmore at the time thought that the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation at the time, the St. Catherine Parish Council, wasn't doing justice for them. And they decided that we want our own governance structure to give the level of guidance and governance that we wanted. And as a result of that, the Portmore Municipal Council was born. I say that to say that even with the whole discussion of Portmore becoming the 15th parish, I know that the voice of the people once again will come into sharp focus as it relates to how the end result will be if it becomes a parish or not.
Can I
But
interrupt you? Can I interrupt you for 1 second?
yes,
Can you explain to me and to us like what the difference has been from just being a town, so to speak, under St. Catherine to becoming the Portmore Municipal Council, and what that has done for you as a community?
okay. Well, in simple terms, as the local municipal authority or local planning authority, the Portmore, well, just to put it into context, because we have gone through a number of name changes. So originally we were the Portmore Municipal Council.
Okay.
It changed to the Portmore Municipality, and we are currently the Portmore City Municipality. Just a matter of name changes, but the roles and responsibilities are still the same. All right, so under the directive of the St. Catherine Parish Council, now the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation, the residents of Portmore, once they were going to do any form of development, and development in this case, I'm making specific reference to a simple addition to a residential unit, or if you were going to develop a commercial building, say for instance a plaza, and because the municipal corporations are governed under a number of legislations. One of such that I'm going to make specific reference to is the Town and Country Planning Act. And this piece of legislation clearly defines what development is and what is the procedure that one needs to go through when they're going to apply to do a development within the space. So prior to Portmore City Municipality came into existence, the residents of Portmore had to make their formal application to the St. Catherine Parish Council, now the municipal corporation, for the requisite building approval for them to construct whatever structure that they would have made an application for. So with St. Catherine Parish Council, Municipal Council now out of the picture, all residents of Portmore has to come to the Portmore City Municipality to make.
Oh, sorry. Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second. Should be back on. Okay. Yep. Lost you for a second. Please continue.
Okay, so I'm not sure at what point you lost me, but just to reiterate the point now is that Portmore City Municipality is now, since 2003, is the local planning authority where the residents of Portmore who wants to do development within the space will have to make such application too.
And would you say, I'm sorry to interrupt you again, and would you say that before, when you were under St. Catherine, like, what was the issue with that? Did they not understand the specific needs of Portmore, and then also just the way that you all as a community wanted to develop? Is that like one of the main reasons why you decided to formulate your own body?
Well, I wouldn't say that the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation didn't understand. I think it was a matter of human resources, because the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation has responsibility for the entire parish of St. Catherine. And for our guests to have an appreciation, the parish is a pretty large parish. So to take, for example, the position of the director of planning or the municipal engineer, the records to date have Portmore population to be approximately 183,700 thereabout. But we believe, as the local technocrats, that it's far more than that, based on the amount of developments that we would have approved. So, but we await the current population census that is being done for us to get a clear and a definitive number as it relates to what the population size is. But working with that figure, 180,000, we only have one director of planning. There's only one municipal engineer. And so when you look at the ratio versus the technocrats to the population, then you see the vast disparity. So the parish of St. Catherine now, inclusive of Portmore's population, you get an appreciation that to manage the entire parish was a little stretch, a big stretch for the corporation. And with such a dense population in that space, the voices are saying that no, we need to get better representation in terms of the services that are rendered by the parish council or the local municipal corporation. So as a result of that, there were a number of developments that were being done in Portmore that was done ad hocly. There were developments that weren't monitored. And as a result of that, the residents or the people did it in their own way. Some didn't apply, and they just constructed as they see the need. And as a result of that, we presently, as the municipality, we still have some challenges to ensure that these structures are regularized and are caught within the formal system. So it was on that, in that perspective, why the municipality was born.
I see. It's interesting. It's interesting learning the motivations behind the formulation of the municipality, and I juxtapose it to where we are here in Negril. And like I said, even community leaders here oftentimes refer and reference to Portmore, and we have, I wouldn't say we have similar challenges in respect to development, because we also have like a separate body for development. We have the Negril Green Island Planning Authority, and so the approvals go through them, like kind of like they go through you and your municipality. But the challenges that we have is that the grill spans across two parishes, and like that's like the main thing. And then so sometimes we get tossed to Westmoreland, sometimes we get tossed to Hanover, depending on who it benefits and who it affects. And so like that is all, that's like one of the main reasons why we want to become our, have our own independence and our own autonomy. And then to, even from like a public service standpoint, there was sometimes there would be, say, a hotel or that needs to call the police, that would be right on the border of Westmoreland and Hanover, and the Negril police, this hasn't happened in years, but the Negril police station would tell them to call the Green Island police station because that's not their jurisdiction. And that is, 25 minutes, it could be 20, 25 minutes to the Green Island police station, and for them to get here, where the Negril police station is 5 minutes away. And so this is how we get kind of tossed around. And we're also looking for, just even like we have to go, like with incidents with courts and stuff like that, we have to go all the way to Sav Lamar. That's 45 minutes. So it's like these little things that we want to have our own control over, and like these challenges that we have, we want to have representation. So I guess my question to you is and in just briefly hearing about some of the challenges that we have as a community and from a leadership standpoint, what advice would you have for us here in Negril to kind of go about, and I know it's two different situations, but to kind of go about this journey of seeking our independence, and what seemingly that you have in a very real way and have had for about 20 years now?
Right. Well, as I said, if you're going to use the Portmore's experience as an example, then I would say that the voice of the people um, was the way, and still is the way, as it relates to how you want the space to be defined, and how you want the future of that space to be sustained. So the 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 agitation and the advocacy of the people within that space is paramount. And once the powers that be hear the voices of the people, then they would have to do one of two things. One, listen to the people, or two, listen to the people. Because when you look at it, and this has to do with all the municipal corporation spaces within, or by extension, Jamaica as a whole, where governance is concerned, whether at the central or at the local level, there has to be political will, because it's at that level that we can get the changes that are necessary to enact legislation and to pass laws. And the model that exists, where you have councillors, MP, prime minister, then there is an avenue through which you can get that representation. And when you look at local governance, which we consider to be the lowest, or the bottom up approach, we realize that was and has been very effective, because you're hearing and you're feeling the cry of the people. And once you start at that level, where at the divisional level, where the councillors, well, I can't even go lower than that, where you can start at the the Citizens Association, because when you look back at Portmore's experience, the representation at every level, it was consistent right up. So from the Citizens Association to the CDCs, right up to the councillors' divisions, to the members of parliament, it was representation right through, representing the cry of the people. So it starts there. And what we learned is that, as they say, repetition deepens impression. So it wasn't a one off cry, it was a sustained cry. And the Prime Minister of Jamaica, it was Portia Simpson Miller at the time, had no other choice but to honor the requests of the people of Portmore.
That's so interesting that you say that, because like what we all the only thing that we have in Negril are these private organizations, these citizens of the Whitehall Citizens Association, and really the Negril Chamber of Commerce being the leading voice of Negril. And that's it. It's just a group of people that was formulated many, many years ago that really had the focus of Negril's business community and its environment as a priority, that came together. And now it has turned into this body that has become, I would say, almost I mean, it's a group of different organizations. You know, the Negril Chamber of Commerce, the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association, Negril Chapter, Whitehall Citizens Association, the Negril Rotary Club, Lions Club, like all these, but these are all private individual organizations that come under this focus of Negril, and that is the fight, if the fighting body, if you will. And the Chamber of Commerce has become, both on the positive and negative side, it's become this body like where if things don't get done in the grill, people will be like, the chamber not do nothing for us. And then, but it's like, it's in many ways, it's not the chamber's responsibility. Like the chamber, all we have is our voices, our advocacy, our lobbying power, and that's it. We don't have any teeth. You know, we don't make policy. We don't have a budget that can say, well, we're going to do this to the roads. We're going to upgrade this school. We don't have that. All we have is our voices. And so I think that is one of the main reasons why we want to have our own independence and municipality and follow in your steps. So, I mean, you bring up a great point of just starting at that ground base level, that grassroots level, and then kind of working your way up. So, no, I appreciate that advice, and I appreciate you sharing your come up, if you will, as a community. I do want to hop into the let's kind of give you an idea of where my head is going. Like I do want to hop into kind of the future of Portmore, because as you say, it's one of, if not the fastest growing city in Jamaica. And I want to talk a little bit about the future and the development that's happening there, and then get into some of maybe the regulatory aspects of that, because I know people are very much interested in learning about building all around Jamaica. So if we could learn about building in Portmore, that would be fantastic. So with that, would you be able to just kind of give us an idea of this pace that you're feeling in the development of Portmore, everything from the residential developments that you were alluding to before to any commercial investments that we can also hear about and learn about and look forward to?
All right. So once again, I'm going to go back to the history and simply show you how we have grown over time. With Portmore being strategically located to the capital city, Kingston, that was how Portmore came into existence. People who were working in the capital, Kingston, but they weren't able to afford housing or even the rental within the capital city. And as a result of that, the next best place to be, I mean, in terms of residential, Portmore became that option. So what we realized in the beginning is that Portmore was just a space where the workers in Kingston sleep. So Portmore was developed primarily as a residential community. So as a result, that space became very dormitory. So everybody leaves early morning to go into Kingston to work, and then the reverse happens in the evening. Everybody move back out, come to Portmore, sleep, and go back to Kingston to work. So during that era, there wasn't much commercial, there wasn't much light industrial, there wasn't any much recreational space. So all of the other uses, the commercial, the light industrial, the recreation, all of those activities, the people used in Kingston, and they just come to Portmore and sleep. But after a while, these same individuals said, no, man, it would be much better if we can create the other uses within this space so that we don't have to go to Kingston anymore. So the whole concept now of sustainable development comes to the fore. Sustainable development for us as technocrats, we believe, is the way forward. The way forward to ensure that the environment, the economic, the social, the political, all of these facets come together so that we can have a space that is functional and it is sustainable, not just for the present population, but even for the population to come in the future. Mm-hmm. So as a result of that, with that thinking, we had to do some things differently to make this vision and dream come to reality. So with the, I'm going to put in quotation, the limited land spaces that were left in Portmore that weren't built out as residential, we had to get some commercial activities going, some light industrial activities going. And even when, if I were to share with you the vision of our first mayor of Portmore, Mr. George Lee, who's now deceased, that was also his vision, that he wanted the space that is called Portmore to be developed by Portmore so that it is so sustained that even the young individuals, young persons, don't have to go outside of Portmore to seek employment opportunities. So the space will take care of the different needs of the people. So fast track to 2023, we have moved from being dubbed a dormitory community to a community that is bustling, as we say, bursting the seams, because we now have commercial activities taking place. We now have light industrial activities. And I must say, with the new thing on the horizon now, the business processing outsourcing, the BPOs, a number of BPOs have been developed within Portmore and has attracted a lot of young people in the space and also created employment opportunities for the youth that are originally from Portmore. So we are growing and we still have plans for future growth. I must interject at this point with the whole concept of sustainable development. We at the Portmore City Municipality has embarked on developing what most but all of the municipal corporation are entrusted to get done is what we call our local sustainable development plan. Now, this plan, indeed, it's a document that has been drafted and created by the municipal corporation to chart the way forward as it relates to how developments are done in a sustainable manner. Now, we at Portmore, and I'm happy and elated to state that we have completed our local sustainable development plan. We're in a matter of months, and not months, but months, that we'll be launching our plan. Um, and in that plan, we have a number of creative and innovative ideas as to how we want Portmore to develop. I will let you know that we want Portmore to be a smart city, or by time if we become a parish, we want it to be a smart um, parish. The concept of green development is paramount in that development, and ecotourism, um, transportation, creating connectivity and moving the people out of Portmore is also a big thing, because we in that plan we propose a multimodal approach using the water, using railway, um, as a method of transportation, getting people in and getting people out. I also spoke about ecotourism because Portmore is is a very diverse space. Because when you look at the El Shire area, which is also a protected space, and the records will tell you that if you want to find the Jamaican iguana, then you have to come to this space called El Shire, which is a part of Portmore. So it is very diverse and dynamic, and we have a lot of things that we can develop our ecotourism around in Portmore, and that is a part of the plan. We also realize that Portmore um, have a lot of potential as it relates to entertainment. I will share with you and the guests who are online that when you talk about the greatest one day dancehall event that usually take place in Jamaica took place in Portmore. When you talk about Sting,
Mm.
it happened in Portmore. So we realize that Portmore has the potential of becoming an entertainment hub. So in the local sustainable development plan, we also have proposal to ensure that that space where entertainment is concerned is preserved in Portmore. I share one more with you. When you talk about horse racing, I I would say there's no space in the grill. But when you
Yeah.
talk about the Cayman and Strap,
Hmm.
it is nestled within Portmore. So we have a number of hubs that we want to package to be a part of a wonderful entertainment slash tourism package for Portmore. So these are, in a nutshell, some of the things that we have in our local sustainable development plan to make Portmore, as Vision 2030 says, the place of choice, where people want to live, work, raise family, do business, and we add to retire in Portmore.
No, amazing. Thank you so much for that insight into the sustainability plan development plan that you guys have, I'm sure, worked very, very hard on putting together. I do want to take this opportunity. There's so many questions I want to ask you about that, but um, I want to move a little bit into more on the development side. So one thing that I guess will help us transition into that is, are there any, I would say, and I'm just thinking for the context of people who are maybe considering investing, maybe moving to Portmore, are there any environmental constraints that the outsider common person would have no idea about? So, for example, here in the grill, we have the Great Morass, and that is just such an important part of our environmental ecosystem, and it dictates much of how much we are allowed to develop and how we develop. And so, is there any environmental constraints that us outsiders may not even have any idea about in the Portmore area that we should be aware of?
Well, I'll go back to the Elshire area because Elshire is a part of what you call the Portland Bight protected area. So that space um, has some restriction as it relates to the type of development that will be permissible within that space. So that is one of the environmental sensitive areas in Portmore. Um, well, apart from Elshire, there are some other areas in Portmore that we have to um, be guided um, carefully as it relates to the type of development that we allow to happen within that space. So Portmore, the Great Rio Cobra um, runs in Portmore, and well, not many persons know that, but it does, and it exists. It enters or exit into the the Hunts Bay area. So as a result of that, from persons who would have traversed Portmore would have heard about the Dyke Road, and it is so named because indeed it is a dike that serve as a protection um, for the residents who live in that side of Portmore, the Gregory Park, the Waterford, the Portsmouth area, as a protection. So whenever time or if we have such an event where the Rio Cobra is in spate, that there is protection that is um, protection for these communities because that was how the dike was developed because way back in the 80s and especially during the period when we had Gilbert, there was much flooding that took place within those communities that I've named, the Gregory Park um, space, the Waterford, Portsmouth here, and as a result, as a preventative measure, the dike was built. So we haven't had for that period of time any catastrophic event like that. But for a number of years, we within that space, we have some light industrial activities taking place. But these developments are done in such a way, um, having in the forefront of their mind that the space that they are operating in is vulnerable, and as a result of that, the developmental approach that is taken is so fitted. So there are a number of engineering, drainage kind of works that are done within that space to serve as a mitigating measure, knowing what exists next door, which is the river.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so this will be my last question, and then we're going to go into the audience questions here, the last 15, 20 minutes. Could you just give us a quick synopsis on just what the density regulations are for construction and development, housing development, and also what the height restriction is for building?
All right. So as it relates to to density,
Mhm.
for residential units, we still use 30 habitable rooms per acre for residential development. Um, so that's a general standard.
Yep.
Um, in Portmore, what we have worked on is to ensure that we have central sewage. And with central sewage, we can increase the density a little more. Because at 30 habitable rooms per acre, barring central sewage, it means that the developers would have to put in place on-site sewage treatment facilities. And that in itself will take up some space. So once the area is centrally sewered, then we can up the density a little bit more, because sewage and treatment and sewage is one of the big tickets in terms of how developments are done.
So
Because
sorry,
as you know,
sorry,
Mhm.
sorry to interrupt you. With the sewage treatment plant on these developments, are these tertiary treatment?
Tertiary, yeah,
Okay.
definitely tertiary treatment.
And so and
Um,
then so each of these developments would have their own?
right. So what I was saying, that within Portmore, not all of Portmore is centrally sewered.
Gotcha. Okay.
So the areas that are non-sewered, then
Mhm.
you have to implement an on-site sewage treatment facility that treat sewage up to a tertiary level.
Interesting. Gotcha. Okay. Cool. 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 And then as it relates to the height, sorry I interrupted you. The height
Right.
regulation. Yeah.
So where height is concerned, for residential, we keep it at 2 floors, ground and first floor. Um, for commercial, we allow it to go a little higher, so we can go up to first, second, third, fourth for commercial.
Okay, great. And then is there anything in the pipeline to that you guys are thinking about making those
Going
going
higher.
higher? Yeah.
Well, we have given consideration to the heights being increased in our development order. Um, Once it is possible, then we'll allow it. Once the geotechnical studies are done to substantiate the fact that yes, we can go deeper in terms of foundation, then definitely we give consideration for the heights to be increased. Once it is possible, because um, next door to Portmore is a Palisades Strip also,
Hmm.
and that's where the Norman Manley International Airport is. So once your proposed development will not interfere with the flight path, sure, we give consideration for the height to be increased.
Okay. Thank you for that. All right, so let's move on to the audience questions here. So I'm getting a lot of questions around the need are questioning the need of Portmore to be to be its own parish. So Gary Talawa asks, would like him to explain why Portmore needs to be a parish. Portmore already in a parish, and there is in a parish, and there is no rule the largest city in a parish has to be so. If so, then Oteria should be a parish too.
Yes, very, very interesting. And
Hmm.
matter of fact, as I will let you know that at the present moment, it's an heated debate as it relates to it becoming a parish, or it remains a municipality, or should we just aspire for city status? And and as I said initially, at the central level, decisions are taken which at the local level we don't have control over. And the whole matter of Portmore becoming a parish is one that is, I would say, at this present moment, it's highly political,
Hmm.
if I may say, and that's where the arguments are being chomping at the bit as it relates to this being a more of a political move rather than anything else. Because when we have looked at it, whether we become a parish or we remains a municipality or a city, in terms of the roles and responsibilities of the local planning authority, it's not going to change. It's not going to change much. So for us as technocrats, um, whether it's parish or city, our roles and responsibilities still remains the same as it relates to making the space a sustainable, um, functioning, operating space. Um, as I said initially, the voice of the people will prevail,
Mm-hmm.
and as it relates to what has transpired thus far, because it is an initiative of this present government. We have had had consultation within Portmore as it relates to, do we want to become a parish? What is your thought? And the conclusion coming out of that consultation is that the people of Portmore are saying, come on, when you look back at our history, how we became a municipality, it was inclusive consultation. So whether we become a parish or not, the people of Portmore are saying that include us into this process so that we can have our little 2 cents to it. So, as I said, from a technocrat perspective, whether we become a parish or remains a municipality is not a big thing for us as technocrats. We know in Portmore from a technocrat perspective that there are still some infrastructural developments that we want to see within this space. And we have been advocating for these infrastructural development. So if we get them as being a municipality, we're good. If it comes while the name is changed to become a parish, we're still good because we believe that the people of Portmore must get the highest quality of service, highest quality of representation right across the board. So that's in a nutshell what, or well, from my perspective, my opinion, what it is as it relates to parish versus city versus municipality status.
And as a follow question to that, what are the critics saying? Like, what are their arguments as to why Portmore should not become a parish?
Um, those well, well, what the critics are saying is that the difference is so marginal
Mm-hmm.
that it it doesn't, in quotation, really matter if it's a parish or city or municipalities in terms of the roles and function. However, from a political standpoint, there is a marked difference in terms of what will happen.
Mm-hmm.
So the implications are greater politically rather than environmentally or yeah.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Thank you for that. I have a question from KJ Martin. You kind of alluded to this already. Also, better public transportation beyond minibus and sorry, I only read half the question. So you've already answered this. Are there any plans for higher density developments in Portmore instead of single family housing, and also better public transport beyond minibus and taxi, maybe a tram to make it easier to move around?
Right. I'm not sure if Martin was got an insight into what our local sustainable development plan, but he's right on point in terms of what we are proposing. How transportation is done for the space. We have a mono rail that is proposed within the space, and we have given thought to a ferry system to make the travel to Kingston a bit easier and less cumbersome. So yes, we in the plan we have put forward those brilliant ideas as it relates to transportation and movement of people within the space and out of the space. As it relates to single family development, yes, we have, as I said initially, we have given thought to the density being increased and the height being increased once the infrastructural development are there to support same.
Okay, excellent. And this question is from Joe. You kind of already answered it. Has Portmore ever considered a highway or ferry from Portmore directly to the airport going across the water?
Yes.
Yeah. Um, let's see what else. Kingston 16 asks, with the rapid growth, are there concerns about traffic problems? If so, what is being um, done now to address the potential issue of traffic congestion?
Yes. The traffic congestion in Portmore is a big concern for us at the municipality.
Hmm.
Um, the way that municipalities are set up is that the municipality in itself does not have 100% control over our road networks. The what we call the parochial roads are the direct responsibility of the parish councils, the municipal corporations. However, the roads that are considered to be the main arterial roads are the responsibilities of the National Works Agency. And we have a couple of those in Portmore. And these major corridors, we believe, and there are plans in the pipeline for some of these corridors, excuse me, to be widened. And so that's the plan that is on the table from the National Works Agency. The Municipal Boulevard, which is one of our major corridors in Portmore, there are plans on the table from the National Works Agency to increase the width of that road, making it at least a 6-lane corridor. There is plans, and in recent news, the National Works Agency also mentioned the Grange Lane corridor to be dualized. Um, the road from that leads to Elshire, there's also plans afoot to dualize that corridor. Um, they have done some work in recent times to improve the Port Henderson Road. That one has been dualized. So we are working closely with the national entity, the National Works Agency, to ensure that these plans really become a reality, because it will, without a shadow of a doubt, ease some of the challenges that we're having in Portmore, where traffic congestion is concerned. In the local sustainable development plan, we proposed a bypass to bypass the traffic that, for those persons who are familiar with Portmore, where the Forum Hotel is or was, it's not an hotel anymore. We are proposing a bypass along that corridor to bypass all that traffic that is on the Port Henderson stretch that leads to Elshire. So if that materializes, we know for sure that it will ease um, the pain of the individuals who travel to Greater Portmore, individuals who travel to Elshire, who live in those spaces. It will definitely ease their pain where traffic is concerned. So those are some of the plans that are in place. Some are long term and some will be medium term. And we're hoping that the plans that the National Works Agency have for Portmore will be implemented in a very short term period.
Okay, thank you for that. Next question from Trisha T. Throp, a question for your guest. What types of recreational facilities exist in Portmore, and what is the status of the ideas for a market and a hospital? And then you can answer that.
Right. All right. So those three items that have been listed by Trisha T are three major developments that we really want to see materialize in Portmore. I'll start with the market. Culturally, as Jamaicans, market plays a very significant role in our lives as Jamaicans, even though economically it's not really a benefit to the parish councils or the municipal corporations. And let me put that into context. The maintenance and operations of markets for I'm going out on a limb right now, for all the municipal corporations that manages markets are operating at a loss. And you might be saying to yourself, then why operate markets? Because of our cultural situation. So markets within the municipal corporation serves the purpose of being a social good. So we ensure that they still are kept alive. So as it relates to market in Portmore, we have looked at it seriously. We have looked at it deeply. And we first realized that there is a need for a space where the residents of Portmore and even the neighboring parishes can get your ground provisions and stuff like that. So we have developed a concept where we want and I'm using the word market guidedly because the concept that we have in mind is more than just our traditional bend down market. We have, as I said, a draft concept. We haven't built it out as yet for what we want this market in Portmore to be. We have a few areas that we are looking at intensely to where we want this market to be built. It's going to be a market with a difference, I must say. A market that is going to incorporate the traditional bend down market, but there are other complementary usage that we're putting together to make Portmore's market be a unique one. We have had discussion with our parent ministry, the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, as it relates to this market space. And that is one of the things that is high on the agenda of our present Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Mr. Desmond Mackenzie. And so for Trisha, we're hoping that this one will materialize very soon. As it relates to recreational spaces, I must say that we have fallen short where recreation and this big recreational space is concerned, but there is plan in the pipeline for us to have in the very, very, very near future a park similar to that of the Emancipation Park. Matter of fact, we had started out some work on this park that we dubbed to be the Climate Change Park. However, with the intervention of the Prime Minister, he has entrusted the Urban Development Corporation with this responsibility to make this park a reality. And I will hasten to let you know that we are far advanced where that park is concerned. The plans have been approved, and it's a matter of the Urban Development Corporation getting the necessary funding to make this park a reality. It's going to be a park that is going to mimic the park that was done there in Montego Bay, but it's going to be much bigger.
Oh wow.
So I think with that becoming a reality, it will ease the woes of Portmore not having a recreational space. So that will solve that problem. The long, long awaited hospital is still a need for Portmore. What has kept Portmore going in terms of the medical needs of the residents of Portmore? Yes, the the the, the Spanish Town Hospital is in close proximity. The Kingston facility is also in close proximity. But what we realize as technocrats that have kept us or fulfilling the needs of the resident of Portmore is the number of medical facilities that, barring they are private, that are operating within the space. So we know that those cannot fulfill totally the need of an hospital or the services that comes with an hospital. But we're open and it's still on on our table as it relates to Portmore getting that hospital. And I know from our inception from 2003, that was always on the table, and I know that that was one of the things that our first mayor, George Lee, wanted to implement. But we're still working on it. We're still working on it. There was a proposal to have a private hospital. It didn't materialize, but as I said, there's still plan afoot for a hospital to be developed in Portmore. But as I said, there are medical facilities that has been operational within the space, and I think these facilities are what are offsetting the medical needs of the residents in Portmore.
Okay. Thank you for that. Do you have time for one more question?
Yes.
Okay, this will be the last question, and this is really relating to development. And this is from Callison. Callison, with regards to density, Mr. Parker said it's 30 rooms to an acreage. What is a room defined as? Also, with regards to height allowance, two for residential and three for commercial. What about mixed use?
All right. So there is consideration that is given for mixed use development within any space. It is considered within the space for Portmore. That one, two 30 habitable rooms per acre. And the key term is habitable rooms per acre. So, habitable rooms, sorry. So, it will include what we know to be bedrooms where we sleep and there are other activities that takes place within the bedroom, but also other spaces that can be habitable, such as study. The living room is also considered to be an habitable room. Dens are habitable rooms. So any other spaces apart from the kitchen and the bathrooms um, are considered to be habitable spaces.
I see. Okay. Thank you for that. Okay, so I think we're going to leave it there. I want to be very respectful of your time, and I definitely appreciate you coming on the stream today. Is there any direction that you'd like to send the Throp community here? Anybody on this live stream in terms of staying in touch with you on social media or in touch with you via email or website that you'd like to let us know about?
Okay. In terms of keeping contact, my email address is Oningray Parker, ONIGRAAYPARKER at yahoo.com. I
Mhm.
also can be reached out at pmcplanning at gmail.com. In terms of phone numbers, my phone number, C Eugene, is 567-2668. And I'm willing and ready again to to be joined on this platform to share, because we didn't get an opportunity to delve into the development approval process,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and even the plans that the government of Jamaica have as it relates to us going online to make online applications. So you can stay all the way in America and make an application for development in Portmore. So things are in the pipeline to make that a reality. And there's much more that we can share. So I'm not sure, maybe another time when I'm available, I can be on the platform where we can delve definitively in the development approval process. What
Yes.
is involved, what is required, how long it takes, stuff like that.
Can you give me your phone number one more time, please?
All right, so it's 567
Mm-hmm.
2668. And the area codes come before that,
Right.
876.
And I have your email address as
Yes,
onigray Parker@yahoo.com.
correct. Or PMC planning at Gmail.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put that up there so everybody can see it on the screen there. Okay, I know you got to run, Mr. Parker. Thank you so
Yes,
much for joining us here. Please enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And yes, we absolutely got to do this again sometime in the future.
great.
All right, take care. All right. Thank you, everyone, for your great questions. As always, I really appreciate it. We got Mr. Parker's contact information on there, got the emails on either side of the phone number. And yeah, if you have any questions, direct questions about building in Portmore, I'm sorry, I really wanted to get into those, like the forest and the weeds of development in Portmore, and I had a bunch of questions lined up, but our conversation went in a very different direction. And I was learning so much about Portmore and where they're going and what they're doing, and then also the process in which they underwent to get themselves regulated as their own municipal council, which we are very much trying to do here in Negril. Are we going to try to become our own parish? I don't know. I don't know about that. But we do want our own autonomy. I can tell you that. And so hearing from a community that has done it already has been great, and also interesting. It seems like we're on the right path. We are going to take a short break. Let's do, you know what? We're going to take the drive-through break real quick, literally the drive of Negril. And then we're going to hop back into what we were talking about in respect to the security meeting, and then we'll probably wrap up. So I'm going to show you, let's see, we'll do part one of the drive-through and of Negril. If you saw it already, you get to see it again. Hello and welcome. If this is your first time visiting, a special welcome to you. We got a special feature today. We are doing a driving tour of Negril, Jamaica, particularly focusing on the West End. And this is a bit of a long video. It's about 40 minutes. And depending on where you're watching it, this will be in different parts or one long video. My name is Winthrop Wellington, by the way, and here on my channel, we really discuss all things Jamaica. But today, as I mentioned, we're going to be doing a bit of tour of Negril, and we're just going to flow with it. We're just going to flow with it and see where this takes us. So we are starting this tour off on Norman Manley Boulevard, otherwise known as the Beach Road at Travelers Beach Resort, which is my family's hotel. And of course, we gotta wait for the traffic. But across there on the left side of your screen, that is our NEAT Resource Center, or the Negril Education Environment Trust Resource Center. NEAT is my family's nonprofit organization, which focuses on education for young people. So right now we're heading south on Norman Manley Boulevard, pretty beautiful day, as you can see. I don't know what the temperature was when we filmed this, but it was nice. It was a nice day. And so we're heading towards downtown Negril, and on your left is the shared user path. So that's running, walking, biking, and that goes for a little bit over 2 miles. To your right is the Negril Beach Park. It has a basketball court and the beach, of course, and just really open space. Unfortunately, it's closed right now. They have plans to do some refurbishing. And then we just passed the Negril Community Center. And then we're also passing the craft market on your right side. And this is the South Negril River and Bridge. And we're heading to the Negril roundabout. Of course, going into the roundabout, you have to give way. And if you're in the roundabout, you have the right of way. And we are going west end, so we're going to be taking a right here at the roundabout and veering left. And so here downtown, this is a few shopping centers, if you will. There's Little Caesars Pizza on the right, Popeyes, Burger King. There's a Digicel store down here as well. And on the left coming up is Scotiabank, which some people might be familiar with depending on where you are from, but it's a Canadian bank. And I guess officially this is where the west end of Negril starts. And on your left here is Corner Bar, which is a pretty popular restaurant. Great local food. Haven't had it in a while, but reviews continue to be very good. And on the left, that's Vendors Plaza. That's the Negril Chamber of Commerce owned plaza. Right, obviously we have the sea. Unfortunately, I don't think we panned right, but you basically can see the entirety of Negril on the right hand side if you were to look right. You need to get a 360 camera next time, right? Anyway, on the left is the Negril post office, not in the greatest of shapes, but that is our post office. And then right after that is Samuel's Hardware on the left, and that's, I would say, probably the most popular hardware store in Negril. Mostly every business uses them. And then on the left, the green building, that's Quality Traders. That's where I do my grocery shopping. Been going there for years. And then we're coming up on the, I guess what used to be the High-Low Value Master NCB Plaza, but NCB and High-Low moved. So that's no longer there, and that place is being refurbished. And this is called Church Corner. As we move through the West End. We're just cruising. And this is the Negril Library on the left, and then followed by Negril All Age School. And then this is another hardware store on the left. Hope you guys are enjoying this so far. I'm just flowing with it, and as I see things, I want to point them out to you. On the right is the Negril Yacht Club, which is for sale. Hopefully, should be doing a video on that hopefully sometime soon. Canoe Bar is on the right. It's pretty much the only property on the west end that has a beach. Good food there. Haven't been there in a while either, but their food is pretty good. And that used to be German Bar, but I don't know what it is now, but boats used to pull up there. They used to have really good pizza. This used to be Boat Bar on the right, but it changed into something else. I'm not sure what it is now. And then Millard is on the left, and if you know Millard, that's 24 Hours Place. Good food as well. And then Patsy's is on the right, so they do I think it's basically the only standalone coffee shop in Negril, and they do good pastries, good lunch. I did a live stream from there and also did a video with them as well for the channel. which was cool. This is Ocean Cliff on the right we just passed. I did the farewell dinner there for ThropX 2022. Beautiful property, formerly known as the Spa Retreat. But beautiful property, great food that we had there for the farewell dinner retreat. And here on the West End, like, it's a very different experience than the beach. As you can see, like, it's very, it's I wouldn't say secluded, maybe too strong of a word, but definitely when you're on the properties, it's a little bit more secluded and separated as compared to the beach, where there's just more traffic and no real, I guess, super separation between the properties. And really talking in terms of traversing. So to go from property to property here, you actually have to come out the property and walk along the roads here, whereas like the properties on the beach, you can either walk on the beach and go from property to property, or the road, if you will. And if you're across the street from the beach, then we have the shared user path, depending on where the property is. Now we are passing Samsara, which is friends of the family, another good small hotel in Negril. Sorry about that wind sound. I didn't anticipate that, but that just makes sense, just coming from the camera. This is Kaiser's. This was used to be a very famous place for shows back in the day, before my time. Coming up on the left and the right here is Extabi, great seafood place. I haven't been there in a while, but do enjoy their food. Great lobster during a lobster season. Three Dives coming up on the right here. Very, very popular restaurant, local restaurant. Great jerk chicken, jerk food in general. They were actually on The Amazing Race, if I'm not mistaken. Almost certain of that. Nice view here of the sea. We're passing Pushcart on the right, which borders its sister property, Rock House, one of my favorite restaurants in Negril. They also have an award-winning spa, one of my favorite spas in Negril, as a matter of fact. And haven't been there in a while. When I say a while, like a few months, but I'm a regular customer there for sure. They do excellent job. Very technical, and I guess you can call me bougie when it comes to massages, but I know what I like and I know what I want, and they do a fantastic job there. That's Corosi's Cliff we just looked at. And as you can see, we're literally just riding the coast here. The only thing separating us from the coast is the property. So this is as close as we can get in a vehicle moving through the West End. All right, that was part one of the grill tour. Gave me a little break. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the conversation there with Mr. Parker. As I was saying, I learned a lot from him about Portmore. I do want to hop back into the security meeting real quick and talk a little bit, I guess close out that discussion, if you will. And I think there were some questions. I should have saved them, but I'm just kind of scrolling back up here. Okay. All right. I guess we could just start back at the discussion from the security meeting. So there are a few new people here. I went to a Negril security meeting, I guess you can call it, and on Thursday with the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Security, Dr. Horace Chang, and also the Commissioner of Police and many other high-ranking police officers and leaders. And we got to speak a lot about, very specifically, the challenges that we have here in the Negril community and bring it to light. And they were not surprisingly, but I would say it was nice to know that they were very well informed on many of the challenges that we face here in Negril. And so let's we talked a lot about the traffic, and maybe we'll get into that again shortly. Coming into Negril and the highway that's being built and what is being done to circumvent the bottlenecks that are happening, and to have some temporary solutions as this highway is being built out to go past some bottlenecks on your way to Negril. And so that's kind of where we left things off, but I want to move more into the police side of things. So we have so Savlamar Police Station is being completely um, remodeled, refurbished, built from the ground up. I haven't seen it myself, but they were just talking about it, and so that is kind of putting a lot of strain on the Negril Police Station, from what I understand. There was also mention of the Negril Police Station being upgraded. I think so. I think it needs to happen. And Mr. Grizzo had brought up a great point in that we as a community and citizens, we push our police officers and we expect great things from them. And under the circumstances of having such limited resources, they are doing the best they can and doing a good job. And even the leadership down there, I haven't had much interaction with them, but just from what other community members are saying, that they are satisfied and happy with the leadership that is down at the Negril Police Station. But then also there was some advocacy, or not some, yeah, there was multiple advocacies for getting the police officers more resources, especially as it relates to vehicles, and then to be able to traverse. Because I mean, if you think about it, we got like three main thoroughways of traffic, or of ways to move around the grill. So you have the beach, you have Norman Manley Boulevard, and I will also pair that with the shared user path that we talk about, the running and walking path. Um, and then you have West End Negril, and all of these areas have their own uniqueness to them in terms of being patrolled, and it's obviously difficult and arguably arduous to do if you on your feet, and not having vehicles. So we have a limited number of vehicles at the Negril Police Station. But the good thing too is that we got these, I guess you call them ATVs, that are on the beach, which I think is great. I think the tourists love them. So I know there's at least two, there might be three, but it's just great to see the police on the beach, and it just helps them do their job a lot easier and more efficient and be more effective and offering this service to the community. So it's just great to see. So that's a huge positive that we have in Negril. So seeing them drive up and down on the beach, and sometimes they're on the road with them as well. Another thing that came up is just having more of a presence, a marine presence, marine police presence, that is, in Negril. I think I'm almost certain we only have one boat, and I do think as a community we should have something. I think we should have more than one, and I think we should have a better boat. So we'd love to see that as well. Thankfully, I will say that we don't have jet skis anymore in Negril, which is, some people are for jet skis. I love jet skis. I've ridden them all over the world, and really do enjoy them. But here in Negril, it was such a nuisance. And even from when I was a kid, we used to stay at before we had Travelers Beach Resort. My family, we used to stay at Ponciano, which is up the beach, and now Azul Hotel was taken over. Took over Ponciano, I should say. But I remember being a kid staying in room 21 at Ponciano Hotel. That was always our room every single year. like what woke me up in the morning was the jet skis. And yeah, it just became this crazy annoyance in the grill. And I remember when they were first banned, like everybody was like, wow, this is what it's like to have just peace and quiet. And so anyway, we don't have jet skis anymore. It's not allowed here in the grill, and it has made the town a lot more peaceful. And then also from a enforcement standpoint, that's like one less thing that our marine police have to police and have to be worried about. So that's in a good way. But they also, those marine police also have the responsibility, especially like when it comes to like over let's take the lobster season for example. Like they're the ones who are checking boats to see if they are fishermen, you know, fishing. I don't know what you call it, lobstering during the off season when they're not supposed to be going after lobster. So they also have that responsibility. So again, I would say it would be great if we had another police boat, and we had one. We were just talking about this in the meeting. We had this I don't know boats too well, but I believe it was like, I think it was like a Boston, no, not a Boston whaler. It was like some sort of like cigarette boat, and it was beautiful, like so beautiful. And fortunately the boat got stolen, and they stole the engines off of the back of it. It was like a whole big thing. It was a police donated by the United States government, and it just didn't work out. And I don't even like talking about it because it was just so sad. But we had it for a little bit, but we lost it. You know, in some way, I'm sure there's like a bad taste in certain people's mouths as it relates to having a boat of that nature again in our community. But we really do want something like that back to help regulate our waters as well. The other thing, staying within the context of the police and the police station and giving them the resources that they want. One thing that came up that I was trying to say before with Mr. Grizzle, they needed the AC broke down. They need an AC, so he brought that up, and the police commissioner had promised that he would get them an AC. But I do think at the end of the day, that police station needs to be upgraded, and I wouldn't necessarily say start from scratch, but I think that that's important for it to just so we can have like just more police officers, make them more comfortable, make them, and not to say that they're not proud of being police officers, but be a little bit more proud about their working environment. So that's something that we as a community that we want to push for. Another thing that was spoken about, which we are continue to be excited about, is the Jamaica Eye. And for those that don't know, the Jamaica Eye is the network of camera systems throughout Jamaica that essentially surveil all of Jamaica. And I believe it's supposed to be, or maybe it is already, it's being built as a centralized system. And so we have like here in the grill, we have like it's like a I think it's almost a separate building from the Negril police station. I remember like when they were building it, that it's constantly being monitored. And so we have cameras all along the Negril, the Norman Manley Boulevard, West End, and then even businesses can also be a part of this. So if you are on I forget the name of the website, but there's a website, and I thought this was so cool, that if you are a business that has surveillance cameras and you want to be a part of the Jamaica Eye, you can allow the IP address of your camera to be part of the monitoring system of the surveillance system. And so I don't know the technical parts of it, but basically you give permission through the website that the Negril police station will have access to it. And so they will have access to that camera and the recordings of that particular camera based on the IP address. And they can see what is going on during that, and then they can use that in investigations and that sort of thing. And what was pretty cool was that they were also given examples. I forget where it was, but basically they used like a crime was committed, and because of the Jamaica Eye, within 10 minutes they were able to capture the criminal who was involved in that criminal activity. So this stuff works. They were talking about, obviously not in too much detail, about the use of just being smart police and um, using data to dictate their strategies, and also using technology to help guide them to crime solving. And I thought, like, again, they couldn't get into too much details for obvious reasons, but I just thought it was just like very cool that it seems like they're really on the cutting edge of what's happening and cutting edge of technology, and they have like a real pulse of what's going on. So even they were saying the Jamaica, going back to the example of catching that criminal within 10 minutes, these cameras, I don't know if it's all of them, but they have license plate recognition technology in them, which is like amazing. And I don't know if you've seen this technology, but like it's like so quick. Like a car will be driving on the highway and the camera is just like capturing like all the license plates, like in rapid succession. And as they're capturing, like you're seeing all the registration and registered persons to that license plate, and you can just pull up that information very quickly. So it's becoming very much like a very much first world approach, if you will, to monitoring, crime solving, and all those sort of things. And I thought that was pretty cool that that's happening. I knew license plate recognition activity technology existed, but I didn't know that they were using it on such a mass scale. So yeah, those are kind of some of the things that I at least I can remember as it relates to the support of the police, and then all the JCF, and then also the direction that the leadership is taking and going down to circumvent a lot of the things that are happening. With Throp X, we've confirmed. I guess we got to get it in writing, but I can tentatively say we've confirmed we're going to have a panel on safety and security. Specifically, right now it's going to be specific to Negril, because I thought that was important that we get, because we go to, like, say, even the Chamber of Commerce meetings or community meetings, usually there is a police officer, some sort of leadership, and like kind of telling us what's going on and what's happening in and around Negril, and hearing from the horse's mouth, not necessarily from a newspaper or a news headline, of what's going on. And it kind of gives you a sense and a feel of what's happening, what's being done, what to expect. And so it was just important to us that we had a safety and security panel. And then that way, for those of you at Throp X, if you have any questions as it relates to that, whether you're virtually or you're in person, you can ask them. And then even from like just a general Jamaica standpoint, I think hearing from JCF leadership of where their minds are, where their heads are with whatever it is, a concern, a question, a curiosity that you may have, you will have the opportunity to ask that and get direct insight into that. Let's get to some questions here. Leon says, beautiful video. Even seen some places I've missed. Oh, thank you. That was from the drive-through. Donna Bryce says, I remember staying at Ponciano as well. Yes, the jet ski operators could also be very aggressive. Like, very, very true. Very true. Jamarcus says, did they get the animals on the road sorted out? I'm not sure. I believe what you are talking about, Democracy, is like within the last 4-6 weeks, unfortunately, people had lost their lives because they've crashed into cows. I think on motorcycles or in vehicles, and that's just so sad because that's just like very irresponsible. I remember, like, man, this must have been 10+ years ago. I remember driving on the road, coming back from Montego Bay, driving through Lucy. And then there was this like huge black cow on the road. And I'm not necessarily a slow driver, right? And I remember this car was coming head on with me, and they were just like flashing me like crazy. I was like, what this, like never before. It wasn't like I knew it wasn't they weren't telling me the police was ahead or something like that. This was just like crazy, crazy flashing. And I was like, what is that about? And then like next thing you know, I see this huge black cow in the road. And luckily I was able to avoid them. But that would have been horrific. That would have been horrific. So yeah, these owners and these farmers, like it's so important that they tie their animals up, and they should be held accountable for these things. They have to be held accountable. They can't just be roaming free that way. So it's very, very irresponsible. Democracy says Westmoreland is getting a divisional headquarters. That's awesome. We do need it. So I don't know. So to that, I don't. I would guess that Sav would be that divisional headquarter. Since they're putting such a large investment into that, but I could be wrong. Willing to stand corrected. Donna Bryce says, "Oh, the Jamaica Eye is in the grill already." Yes, it is. It's been here for some time, for a few years. Cherie D, afternoon. Good to see you. Are C-bobs permitted in the grill? What's a C-bob? I don't know what that is. Let me look that up real quick. Do not know. Oh, those things. Okay, cool, cool, cool. As far as I know, good question. I haven't seen it here. These are I'll just bring it up so you all can see it. 1 second. That's a C-bob. So it's a motorized unit that allows you, I guess, to kind of go underwater and move through the water faster. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, to be honest, but good question. Good question, Jay Fitz. Ambassador Tejada says, learn about smart grid, smart means, surveillance monitoring analysis, reporting tech regarding facial recognition and smart meters from China's social credit systems. They have been the model for tech. Ooh, are we heading in that direction? Kind of crazy. Well, thank you for that, Ambassador Tejada. Sheree says, I might be out on a limb. I'm maybe alone here, but I miss the jet skis. If only they set them up, maybe Bloody Bay, and took you out further away from swimmers. So yeah. So I guess clarification on that. So in order for this is a Jamaica law, not a Negro law, but for jet skis, there needs to be a 200-meter chute for the jet skis to take off from. So one of the main problems that we had in the grill was that these jet skis would come right up to shore. So there are 3 zones for like in the grill as far as the coastline goes. Should I bring up the map? Might as well. Let's see. I don't know if it's going to show up on Google Earth here, but let's see what we can do. And it's not really going to show up, but let's try it anyway. So there are 3 zones, right, on the shoreline here. So there is the swim zone, which is like right on the shore. So like every property has like their little white buoys that are sectioned off for where you're allowed to swim. And then right outside of that, there is like the swim zone, and then there is supposed to be these red buoys. So that brings me up to another point that was discussed in this meeting. And like in between those are non-motorized zones. So that's if you're on a canoe, if you're on a paddleboard. And so if you will, okay, this is kind of a good example. So perfect. This is Margaritaville. So this would be Margaritaville swim zone. And then also they have which falls within the swim zone. is these bounce about thingies. I don't know what you call them, but they're like trampolines in the water. Like, so they have two of them right here. And so non-motorized area. And then, so again, outside of the swim zone here, you'll have like, call it, this section here would be for canoes, paddle boards, that sort of thing. And then outside of that, I'm trying to see if I could find a red buoy. I think we have one down by Travelers. Let's see. I'm almost certain. No, it's not showing up. So this is Travelers. This is our swim zone here. You can see our buoys. And there's a buoy like kind of like right here. There's like a red buoy. So if you can imagine between this, I would say imaginary red buoy, but I know it's there. But the imaginary red buoy and this swim zones, this is non-motorized right here, non-motorized zone. And then beyond that, that is for motorized vehicles. So your fishing boats, your catamarans, your glass bottom boats, all of those are basically supposed to be out here. Unfortunately, we do not have enough. There hasn't been enough of the red buoys to signal and show that the motorized vehicles, motorized boating activity should take place beyond that. And so what you have sometimes is these boats coming in the non-motorized zone, which is obviously dangerous. And that was one thing that came up in the security meeting, is which we want to get more of those buoys so we keep those boats outside. And then obviously, if you're, as you can see here, this is a glass bottom boat here. So the idea is, many of these boats are parked here on the Negril River. So as you can see, there's a bunch of boats here on the Negril River down here. And so what happens is, like, they'll park their boats here overnight, and then they'll take their boats out here. These are mostly the glass bottom boats. And the idea is they come out of the mouth of the Negril River, they'd go north up the beach, up the coastline, and then wherever it is that they park their boat. So we'll go back to the Travelers example. They would come down the motorized area here beyond the red buoy, and then they'd slowly make their way in and park their boat right here on their beach. And their clients would, whenever they were ready to go out, they would board the boat and then head to wherever it is that their guest clients want to go. So that's the idea behind it. And like I said, didn't really we need more of those red buoys to regulate that. And in recent years, a lot of these boats are coming in, not into the swim zone, but they're coming into the non-motorized zone, which is illegal and of course very dangerous. So that's one thing that we are advocating for and trying to get done rather quickly. All right, let's get to some of these comments. Oh, right. Sorry, Sherry. So my point in my point in you bringing up the I talked about the shoot, and the jet skis, but like, yeah, these guys, the jet ski guys, were they were coming into the swim zones. They were coming in here. They were obviously not obviously, but they were in the non-motorized zones. They were coming in the swim zones, soliciting people for their services. And yeah, it was a mess for many years. It was a real mess for many years. All right, let's keep going here. Tisha says, "Hey everyone, so more on one of your other episodes. I got a few Scotch Boy sauces at my local Target. The Scotch bonnet is so good. I got to get these comments over to Matthew. Awesome. Thank you so much for supporting them. I know they appreciate it. I know I appreciate it. Pretty cool. I like to see that and hear about that. All right. Clarity Media says, Throp, I had yet another internet hack attempt this morning. An ongoing conversation about internet security is in order, my friend. The hackers are near and far, unfortunately, far. Fair warning. Interesting. And I know I believe it was Donna, you keep telling us about the new customs procedure online. I saw that system had gotten hacked. So great question. Thank you, Clarity. I'm going to screenshot that of yeah, we can talk about, yeah, it's important to talk about safety and security in the physical world, but yes, the digital world is also important. Thank you for that. That's a great point. Ambassador Tejada says, I live in Jamaica for years and still haven't been to Negril. I'm encouraged to hear your progressive and organized plans. Oh, you got to come out here. I hope you're not too far. You got to come visit. As soon as possible. Tisha Moy says, we really should support them. Unfortunately, sauces were on sale where I got them, I guess, because of lack of sale. I'll be sharing more on my socials and hopefully get a few more eyes. Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that. I will let them know. We definitely gotta support them as much as we can. So that's the Scotch Boys. They do, if you haven't seen it, they do Jamaican hot pepper sauce, all different flavors, made right here in Jamaica, exported from Jamaica to the United States and beyond. And they're in hundreds of Target stores across America. And we absolutely want to support these guys. These are young entrepreneurs from here in country, Westmoreland, and they're doing big and great things. And we want to support them as much as we possibly can. They're also on Amazon. So if you go to Scotch, if you just put in your search bar, Scotch Boys on your Amazon search bar, you'll be able to find them and you can order them from wherever it is that you are. And that support will go a long, long way. Of course, leave a review on Amazon as well. Rowena, thank you for this reminder. They ask, when is the next beach cleanup day? So next Saturday, the 16th. Sorry, pulling up the calendar here. Yeah, Saturday the 16th, we have the International Coastal Cleanup Day. We'll definitely be doing some posts into this week. And it's the biggest, obviously, global coastal cleanup day there is, but definitely here in Jamaica, we take it very seriously. It's one of my favorite days of the year, but I won't be around. Unfortunately, I won't be here in the grill, unfortunately. So I won't be here for it, but I want to do my best to promote it and get people to volunteer and participate. And if you're here in Jamaica, I'm sure there is a local organization that you can go to and that you can volunteer. NEPA is doing a big cleanup day for that, big cleanup effort on that day. And we want to show solidarity as it relates to our environment, and particularly in this case, the marine environment. And we always have a group from NEAT, my family's nonprofit organization, and we go out. We usually clean like from Travelers down to the beach park, or I should say the beach park up to Travelers and actually beyond. And we stop at different hotels and they give us water. We drop off garbage bags and that sort of thing. So we want to be prepared for that. And again, I would say if you are at all interested wherever you are, and I'm sure wherever you are in your part of the world, if you're living in a coastal area, that you are able to, I'm sure, again, local organization that you can participate in. And I would encourage you to do so. Very, very, very important. Very, very important, I think, especially being an island nation. The water, the marine life is just essential, paramount to our existence and our future. Andrew Blake says, hi, Throp. So are you going to London Marathon 2024? Yep, I am. I got into London Marathon maybe about a month ago. So 100% I'm doing the London Marathon. That is April 21st, 2024. I am absolutely doing a meetup in London. So as the date gets closer, I can't really plan it now with ThropX going on, but shortly after that, I'm going to start reaching out to my UK connections, trying to figure out where we can do a meetup. I'm even thinking about doing a live podcast somewhere if resources allow, but definitely looking to do some collaborations out there and meet up with as many of you folks in the UK. And I give ample time for people to plan and to see how we can make this happen. But it would be great to meet up with you all across the pond. And then, of course, invite you to come out and support the London Marathon as well. It should be a fun one from all the YouTube videos and friends who have ran it. They really enjoy London, and it seems to be a very special place to run a marathon. And I'm just honored to be a part of it, but also want to use it as an opportunity to meet some of you folks. Donna Bryce says ThropX seems to be garnering high attendance. Rooms at Travelers almost totally sold out for the dates. Yeah, so I've been telling you all, like, the rooms are gonna definitely be the first to go. I'll try and find out like what percentage of the rooms have already been booked, and then also if we can open up some more rooms. But I know they're almost all gone there for sure. So if you are interested in ThropX, you're on the like book the room. Yeah, like book the room. That's kind of the most important part. We're essentially, I think we're at 60, almost 60 days out right now. We are 63 days out from ThropX. So I know there are a lot of people still considering coming to the event. And for those who don't know, aren't aware, that's my annual Jamaica investment event taking place from November 13th to November 17th. And we have 2 full days of panel discussions, and we're also doing a Negril real estate tour. But if you're unable to make it in person, you can definitely join us online virtually. But again, if you are considering coming, please book your rooms. The fortunate thing about that is we are working with partner hotels. So we are working with the Negril Treehouse, Shirella Inn, and also let me just pull this up so you can see here. So obviously we're hosting it here at Travelers Beach Resort, but Shirella Inn is a partner and sponsor in the event, and you get a discount. Negril Treehouse is also another sponsor and partner in this event. Who I'm missing from here is Coca La Palm. You know, they've been a great supporter even from day one. So they're also a partner event. So partner hotel, excuse me. So if and when Travelers get sold out, you can book at these hotels. These are great local owned hotels. Except the Coco La Palm isn't locally owned, but the manager of it, which I think he's the director, Mr. William Vassell, I also consider him to be a mentor and somebody who is very pro Negril, pro Jamaica, and again supported me from day one, no questions asked, with this event. And we're going to support his hotel, and they've been a great supporter of the community. So those are the 4 hotels that we have, and we have a couple of more that we're looking to partner with, and they're very close to Travelers, very, very close to Travelers. So we will figure out transportation. You won't have to worry about that getting from those other hotels. If and when Travelers does sell out, you won't have to worry about that. That will be taken care of. We'll be putting a shuttle bus together for that. So thank you for that reminder, Donna. And yeah, get your hotel, and also get your tickets for ThropX ASAP. Clary T says, on a lighter note, I bought the Scotch Boys jerk sauce and coated Brussels sprouts with it and added brown sugar, spicy and sweet Brussels sprouts. Thank me later. That sounds delicioso. I'm screenshotting that as well. And Donna is always coming with the great advice. Remember to hit that like button on the live stream. Definitely helps out a lot. And if you haven't, and I can't believe I have to say this every time, but I will. If you're not subscribed, you got to subscribe. You know, you're hanging out with us, chilling. Helps out a lot. Doesn't cost you anything. So please hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Would love to have you join this community. Manchester, Paris. Oh, that's where you're from. Okay, cool. Soon come. Abroad at the moment. Thank you for the invitation. I have a cleanup a Saturday too for International Coastal Cleanup here in the United States. Awesome, awesome. See, this happened. We're all in this together. Conceptual Event says, dear Mr. Throp, I've lived in Jamaica for 4 years on a work permit and I'm applying for a permanent residence. I'd appreciate your insights on the best approach and any additional guidance you can offer. So I honestly, I don't have any specific direction to give you, but for ThropX, we are going to be having experts in this realm specifically. And I stated before that in the last year, this has been just permanent residency and citizenship questions, the absolute most I have ever received in such a short period of time, especially through Instagram. It's just like, it's so many people. They're just trying to make a move to being here permanently, legally, which is the way you should be doing it. And so that's why we have a specific panel and also experts coming to address that directly, because I can see and I can understand from the chatter inquiries, emails, that this is a topic that people are very interested in and trying to figure out their situation. So I'm sorry, I don't have a direct answer for you. I am going to be having the experts come on to talk about that. And it's also telling me this is like, I need to have an expert come on the podcast so it can get out to much more people and not just people at ThropX. So I would encourage you conceptual events to ThropX. If you can't come in person, do it virtually and you'll have access. And then you'll also have like that person or persons will be giving out their contact information. So hopefully you'll have an opportunity to ask them whatever your situation is. You can ask them your question directly and specifically, but then also if you have follow-up questions, you'll be able to reach out to them after the event. Ambassador Tejada says, I have a link for the cleanup in St. Thomas if anyone needs. So yeah, so talk in the comments here if you have any questions, or if you're in the St. Thomas area and want to participate in the International Coastal Cleanup Day. Shane of Coaching says, any updates to affiliate link for you to earn passive income or coupon code for Throppers? This is another way to boost their visibility and sales. Scotch Boys. Damn, Shayna, you always come up with these great ideas. I think, I don't know if you mentioned this before, but like this is a great idea. I need to put that in the video, right? But it should be easy. I mean, if it's on Amazon, because I have Amazon affiliate links for some of the running recovery tools that I use. So I have those, but not Scotch Boys. So it should work. I'm going to look into this. Thank you, Shayna. I think that's a great idea of putting, of helping them and then also helping myself, right? Thank you. Andrew Blake says, definite collabs available to you and the team. Thank you for that. This is talking about the London collab Andrew's referring to. Democracy says, the Pika website wasn't hacked. The site was cloned and travelers routed to the clone site to ask payment. Oh, right. Thank you for that clarification, which is free from Pika. Gotcha. So not hacked. They were scammed. Right. That's what happened. Thank you for that clarification. We're talking about the C5 form. This is a new form that needs to be filled out digitally online. That is free here, that you're not being paid. You don't have to pay for it, but it's a new process, new method when traveling to Jamaica that we'll all have to get used to. So thank you for that clarification, Democracy. Monica Welsh says, oh, yes, London is beautiful, especially in the summer. Yes, I'm looking forward to it. I love hanging out in London. Justin D is asking how the weather is in London. Okay, JT answered. Steve Stevens says, I always wondered why Jamaica doesn't have a citizenship by investment program like other Caribbean islands. I feel like it. I mean, maybe not citizenship by investment, but yeah. But I also want to look at like when you say that, like that's, and I don't think it's a bad idea. Don't get me wrong, but just something to learn from other nation states. Like I think of Portugal. They had that, and it just turned into like I think you had a. Is it Portugal? I feel like it's Portugal. Like if you invest $500,000 into the country, into the economy, then you can get your citizenship. But it just became like it just became crazy, and crazy in the sense that it disparaged the locals, and we've talked about this before in regards to the digital nomad movement in Portugal and how it made things there so expensive for locals and they couldn't even enjoy their country or have any economic, or at least limit their economic upward mobility because of these outsiders coming in with far more money, and like everything was raised from rent to food to gas, maybe not gas but material things. So that's one thing that I am very conscious of and very careful of when as I advocate for certain elements, amenities for Negril, right? And as we had on somebody today, Mr. Parker, talking about sustainable development, that's also something that is in the forefront of my mind, of making sure that the benefits of the direction and trajectory that Jamaica is heading in and Negril is heading in is felt by all and is felt by the average citizen. And it shouldn't be a situation where certain people or certain groups of people are advancing at a high rate and where others are just being completely left behind and forgotten. And to me, it's all of us have to move up together, and that's the only way that it should be done. And it shouldn't be a concentrated amount of people are the only ones benefiting from this. Like, we all deserve to benefit from all of these things that are happening to our country and to our community. So that's just the one thing that kind of, like, as you said, that having access to citizenship via investment, it's just, again, not saying it's a bad idea, but something to multiple things to take into consideration when making a decision of that nature. Leon says, Throp, great show as always, but the Colts versus Jaguars game heating up. Respect later. The men's U.S. Open Finals should also be epic. Djokovic for a win. Happy Sunday, Throppers. Blessed week all. Speaking of sports, did anybody watch? I don't know. Are you guys UFC fans? I'm a huge UFC. That's probably like what I have paid attention to more than anything else in the last few years. I used to be basketball, then like heavy football, like crazy, obsessed, multiple fantasy football leagues. And then the last few years, I've just dropped off. I used to be able to tell you every quarterback of every team, the starters of wide receivers and running backs, but like I'm so out the loop. I'm coming back though. I'm coming back with NFL, coming back with Aaron Rodgers being the starting quarterback. The Jets, they were on Hard Knocks, so it's in me. It's in me. But in the meantime, that passion has been replaced with UFC, and now I know so much about UFC. And so there was a big fight last night, and one of my favorite fighters, Israel Adesanya, was fighting Strickland. And Israel, born in Nigeria, moved to New Zealand, and that's where he fights out of, and that's where he started his career. And the fight was last night in Australia, and he lost to Strickland, which was a complete upset. So that was crazy. I didn't expect that. I saw it last night. I didn't watch the fight, but I saw the result last night, and I was just like so surprised. And so anyway, a lot of good sports happening. You know, this is a great time of year. I feel like October is like the best sports month. I've been saying this since college. I think everybody says that. Like September, October is like the best sports months out of the entire year. We got so much going on. So yeah, complete tangent to what we were talking about, but glad to know we got a lot of sports fans out there. But interesting. Clary T says, I love UFC, MMA, and Strike Force. Where can I watch in Negril? Nowhere. Nowhere. I watched a few fights at Italian Cafe, but that's when he orders them. That's Kenny. I don't think he orders them that often, but I think this is a great opportunity. I don't know what the demand is, but having some sort of sports bar that gets these big fights and these big matches and that you can go to. Again, don't know what that demand is like, but these are the places that I would love to frequent. I'd love to go to. Um, Leon says UFC is the business. 100, 100, 100. Democracy says can't manage UFC. I miss boxing dearly. Yeah, boxing used to be great. It's just unfortunately, yeah, just not what it used to be. Not what it used to be. All right, let's get back to some other comments here. Democracy says, what are your thoughts on the second boat from Haiti with 36 more migrants in Portland yesterday? Do you think it's becoming a trend? I mean, it's been happening though. It's been happening that I remember even when I first moved here, it happened. Um, it's becoming a trend. I don't know. We'll see, but I mean the same thing is gonna happen. They're gonna get deported again. They're gonna get deported. KJ Martin says, "Hey Throb, what do you think about new cruise ship here for South Lamar, like Falmouth? Is anyone lobbying for that?" I've heard about that. But it's not. I'm not hearing anybody lobbying for it at this time. But and I've said this, haven't said this in a while. But if you ever been to Sav and then you go all the way to the pier, to the coast, it is so beautiful. Like when you look either way, like you see like just this long, long coastline, but it's where the market is and it's crowded. The meat market. I haven't been there in years, but oh man, I remember going there. It's ugh, just like carcasses everywhere, but like the meat market, what do you expect? So I don't like going there. But if you keep going down by the water, it's absolutely beautiful. I don't see how it's not being turned into like some sort of tourist attraction. I can see how because it's Sav is crowded and like it's a bad location in terms of to get to, but I could see that being developed at some point in the future. Donna Bryce asks, "Are renovations still continuing at Travelers?" Yep, they are. They are continuing. Ambassador Tejada says it's a problem in England too. A lot of empty apartments bought by foreigners who don't live there full time. Yeah, it's something to be careful of for sure. Something to be careful of. Let's see. Let's start closing out here. Let's get a few more comments. Cherie says, getting into UFC is actually exciting. Basketball is my vibe. Never caught onto football. All great sports. I'm looking forward to basketball. I don't know if you guys watch It Is What It Is, the sports show with Cameron and Mace. So good. So good. That's like my number one sports show right now. But I know they're doing football and college football, which they're cool at, but I know when the basketball season comes, it's gonna be crazy. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's a very it's a very raw show, but it's a very New York show in so many ways. So I enjoy watching those boys, and it's so funny, and they have just a completely different take and insight and approach to reporting on sports, to say the least. Justin says, not many watch options in Jamaica. Bootleg is the way to go. Watch that UFC last night, was pretty boring. Oh, interesting. Serene Well says, good afternoon. Throp missed the beginning. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you as well. Dosey Dose, what's going on? Thanks for joining. Excuse me. Democracy says, do you know of any entity that sells large quantities such acreages of land besides FCJ? I do not. I wish I did. Leon says, Cameron and Mace, too funny. They really are. They really, really are. Canelo Alvarez versus Jamel Carlo, September 30th, big fight. That's like, yeah, there's not a lot of big names in it. I mean, in boxing, that is. Canelo is a big name. Ryan Garcia, it's Hank. And then what's his name? Who just won? Somebody help me out here. But it's just so like I mean, we can go into it, but it's just not what it used to be, boxing, unfortunately. But I definitely, enjoyed the big fights. I wish I kept up with it more, but like, I feel like the last era that I was like, that I really paid attention, obviously, like for me, I was born in the 80s, but, Tyson, that was like what brought me into boxing. And then, learning about the history of it. And then, I mean, there were just so many like Roy Jones, obviously Mayweather, um, Holyfield, so many. I know I'm missing out. Bud Crawford. Thank you, Jay Fitz. Thank you, Bud Crawford. Errol Spence. That was good. That was really, really good. Thank you for that. Great, 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 great fight. So, I mean, maybe boxing will make a comeback and to its glory days, but it just seems like there's just a lot of politics, internal politics with that sport, and like in many ways, it holds itself back. And UFC saw this gap, and they've just taken over like in a big way. But there are also a lot of big YouTube boxers, and people are paying attention to that, and that I think that was also brought back boxing. I don't know if you guys know Jake Paul, but he's called out Canelo Alvarez to fight. I mean, he would get knocked out in a second. Doesn't stand a chance. But Jake Paul is a YouTuber, and he's now known as YouTube boxer, and he's been beating these athletes. And he recently lost to Tommy Fury, who was actually an actual boxer. And so I think that these YouTubers going into the world and sport of boxing, it's bringing a renewed eyeballs, especially young eyeballs, into boxing, and and never before. And it's good to see them. I think it's great for the sport, and it's good to see these YouTubers taking it very seriously, and they're doing their training and all of these great things. But yeah, it would be great to see more like these professional matches, these professional boxers. Not to say that Jake Paul isn't a professional boxer. I do consider him to be a professional boxer, but it'd be great to see like these traditional professional boxers like really blow up to what it was. I see, Democracy talking about Lennox Lewis. Yeah, that was also a big part of the era of boxing that I was very much paying attention to as well. So we'll see. We'll see. I also like, hey, maybe I would do some YouTube boxing. If this channel gets up there, we can definitely do some YouTube boxing and go get on these fight cards. I wouldn't mind that at all. That would be a lot of fun, actually. I don't know who I'd fight, but I would definitely do it. That would be so much fun. Clarity says, "Who's the UFC father and son fight coming? UFC father and son fight. Um, I don't know. Are you talking about like the Fury fight? The boxing match with KSI? These are YouTubers. I forget. I don't even remember who he's fighting. And then there's Logan Paul fighting Dylan Dennis. These are boxing matches. So I don't know if I'm confusing the two. Clarity. All right, let's. We got off track here. We're talking about boxing. Oh, I don't mind. I love talking about boxing and combat sports in general. All right, so I'm just making sure I got all these comments. Um, Leon says, "Throt, would you fight Nate Robinson as your first card?" For sure, for sure. I guess I shouldn't. I would definitely fight Nate Robinson, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't necessarily. I wouldn't necessarily use his fight against Jake Paul as the litmus test for his skill set, right? So, for those of you who don't know, Nate Robinson, he was a NBA basketball player. He was on the Knicks. He's short, but he was known for dunking on tall people. Like, I'm 5'10", I believe. Nate, somebody correct me on this, is like 5'8" or something like that, and he was like dunking on people in the NBA, like crazy handle as well. Great J too, but he this was during COVID. he fought Jake Paul in his first boxing match, and everybody thought Jake Paul was going to get knocked out because Nate Robinson was a professional athlete or is a professional athlete, and he's fighting this amateur YouTuber boxer, and Jake Paul ended up putting his lights out. Like, this guy was asleep. And so that's why Leon is asking me. But yeah, I would do that. I think that would be fun. Jay Fitz says Nate is looking to redeem himself. Not with me. Not with me. I wouldn't allow that to happen. Justin says the only thing those social media boxers proved is there is no need for the corrupt and criminal 3-letter organizations. Give the fans what they want and stop robbing and cheating fighters. I say it again. Very, very good. You hit it on the head. Jamocracy says Nate is 5'9". Okay, that's what he says on paper, but he looks shorter. Okay, he's 5'9". I'm 5'10", so I got an inch on him. So yeah, we can make it happen. I'm sure. All right, I think this has been fun. Well, I think we're gonna close it out there. This was cool. Oh, my knee. Claire D says Throp versus the annoying beat security guard. I don't know which annoying beat security guard that is, but I would do that. I always thought of so I do MMA, I training, so I always thought at some point I would do at least one pro fight. I would just to get into that octagon at some point. If I ever do, I'll let you all know where and when that happens, but I would need at least 6 months of training because I'm not trying to go in there to get knocked out or tap out. I'm definitely trying to go in there and win. So yeah, gonna leave it there. Sorry, just looking at comments. So good live stream. I hope you all enjoyed the guest that we had on, Mr. Parker. A lot of great questions. I had his contact information. Let me see if I could put it up again real quick. If you have any questions about what's happening in Portmore, development out there, development opportunities, feel free to reach out to him. You got both his email addresses and his phone number there in the middle. I sent out the newsletter, I think was Friday night. So if you haven't got it and you want to join our newsletter, please go to thropx.com and you get all the upcoming updates. So we will be making sure that we get out weekly updates for you all with ThropX. So you can go to thropx.com and you can sign up, and we can make that happen and get you some information. I know a lot of people asked, I see in the message coming in, people are asking about the white papers. I believe we're getting them out. I will follow up with the team to make sure that you guys are getting those white papers. But yeah, this is a lot of fun. I'll do one more comment by Leon. Leon says, Throp versus Leon Edwards MMA fight loading. Now, Leon Edwards would knock me out, no question. That guy is a beast of a beast. I just don't have the experience to go up against him. That's definitely not my first fight. I gotta wait till he gets older, then I'm gonna be old too. So it's not gonna work out. This is not gonna work out. I'm not gonna do that. But Leon Edwards is a champ, and he was born here in Jamaica, and he trains out there in the UK. Would love to meet him at some point. He's a great dude, first and foremost, but he's also UFC champ. All right, cool. We're going to leave it there, and I'm going to leave you with the ThropX trailer. Thank you all for hanging out with me on Sunday. It was a pleasure. We're going to be coming back on Wednesday, so allow me to say that now. So we're not doing Thursday. We're going to be doing Wednesday this week, so that will be the midweek live stream, and I look forward to seeing you there. Don't know what we're going to talk about, but we'll let you know. Everybody have a great week. I will see you all soon. Peace.
Hey.
There's been so much interest in the economic boom that's been happening in Jamaica, both on the investment side and also as a place to move to. Let me tell you about a conference that might help you with this stuff. ThropX is a 5-day Jamaica investment conference that takes place from November 13th to November 17th at the beautiful Travelers Beach Resort in Negril, Jamaica. This includes 2 full days of expert panel presentations on all aspects of moving to and investing in Jamaica. This includes the brightest minds in the Jamaican real estate market, certified financial advisors from the most prestigious financial groups in Jamaica, banking professionals from the most esteemed banking institutions in Jamaica, among others. If you are thinking about moving to Jamaica, this conference is the perfect opportunity to have direct access to not only individuals who have achieved your dream of moving to Jamaica, but you'll also be among like-minded conference goers who are also trying to move to Jamaica. In addition, there will be 1 full day dedicated to touring both residential and commercial real estate for sale in the Greater Negril area to give you a tangible idea of the real estate landscape in Jamaica. There will be exclusive properties for sale on this tour that you will not find listed anywhere else. If you are even remotely considering moving to or investing in Jamaica, this is the conference for you. This is the best way to dip your toe in the water of figuring out whether Jamaica is the right place for you to invest and to live. For more information, please visit thropx.com and join our mailing list. I look forward to seeing you in November.